welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at an extraordinary sounding puzzle. This is called Think Outside the Snake, and it's by Filuta. And I can tell you this didn't defeat. One of our testers managed to solve it, but described their method of getting to the solution as unsatisfactory. Another of our testers failed completely on it, and then Mark had a go. And Mark said, no, this is a very, very clever puzzle. And that accords with some of the recommendations that we've had for it. We've had 3 or 4 recommendations from absolutely outstanding solvers. So this, I think, is going to be something miraculous if I can do it, which is why I'm starting the video earlier than usual today, also because it's so hot here in the UK. I'm a bit nervous about how hot this office is going to get later on today. I'll read you the rules of this one in a second or two. First things first, thank you so much to those of you who've downloaded Domino Sudoku, our new app. It's out on App Store only. It's coming on Android, we hope, at the end of this week, and then to Steam, so for PC and for Mac, a couple of weeks after that. But it is out on App Store now. It's a new app, and basically it also includes a puzzle pack by Prasanna Seshadri, which is totally free, which features, I think, 7 puzzles, one for each type of our existing apps. So there's a Thermo Sudoku, a Miracle Sudoku, a Killer Sudoku, etc. So definitely recommend that to you. We're so proud it's taken us so long to get that app out, but yeah, we're delighted so many of you are enjoying it. Do check it out if you haven't had a look at it yet. Now, next, I need to congratulate more of you who've managed to solve Joseph Neymer's Sudoku Hunt, which is available over on our Patreon page at the moment. I mean, it's amazing solving, by the way. 13 puzzles, equal sum lines. I mean, Joseph's puzzles aren't easy. They aren't monstrously hard, these, either. And I know loads of you have been sharing ideas on how to solve them on the Discord server. So if any of you are trying the puzzles and you're stuck, go to the Patreon channel over on the Discord server, and you'll find loads of people there who can help you. Now, very well done to the following: Pamela Skinner, Jarko Pajuniimi. Oh, that's a tricky one for me. I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. Guy Margalith, Olivier Bruno, Chanel Dawes, Cara Cunningham, who did it with no help, she tells us, and we're very proud of you too, Cara. Zach Gerlock, Carl Faust, Bobby Kuzmanowski, Cameron Hodgkin, John Knappenberger, and Richard Holden. So brilliant solving, all of you. And I can tell you that anybody who gets through all those puzzles has done really well, because normally for most monthly rewards we've been getting thousands of entries. And although I've been reading out names every day since the start of July, we haven't reached 1,000 correct solves yet. So it's definitely harder than the average reward that we've been putting out. So if you get through them all, you really have done some great solving. Very well done. Now, let me read you the rules of this extraordinary sounding puzzle. And I say that, I had a look at the rules before I turned the webcam on. This is absolutely bonkers. I'm actually going to, while I read the rules, I'm going to put up an example puzzle that appears on the Logic Masters Germany page. So we can read these rules and sort of understand what's going on together. Here we go. So normal Sudoku rules apply. Draw a 1-cell wide snake with 2 ends, a head and a tail, that may not touch itself orthogonally, such that the snake divides the rest of the grid into orthogonally connected regions, each of which sums to the same total and contains no repeated digits. And all given digits belong to the snake and may not increase when read along the snake. May not decrease when read along the snake from head to tail. Now that sounds really complicated, but when you look at this example, it all sort of, to me at least, it became clear what was going on. So if we have a look at the grey snake in the solution to this 6x6 example, you can see that the red digits are the given digits, And you can see that as we make our way from the 5 here, which I think must be the head of the snake, to the end of the snake, which is the 4 here. So from this 5, as we make our way from this 5 to this 4, look what happens to the given digits. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they ascend. So that's why. So what it's not saying is that the digits along the whole snake ascend. You can see the digits, the grey or the black digits along the snake are they're oscillating. They're doing all sorts of things. But you can see the given digits, they do indeed increase. Now look at these little blue segments. And each blue segment of connected orthogonal cells adds up to 6 and doesn't contain repeated digits. It's really remarkable. 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, and there's a lone 6 there. And one more thing is if we look at the grey snake, we can see that it never touches itself orthogonally. It does touch itself at a point, this point here. I don't know if you can see that point there. The snake touches itself. In fact, this point here, it touches itself. But it only ever touches itself at a diagonal point. It never touches itself along an edge. So that it's really remarkable that this puzzle has a unique solution with 6 given digits. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm pausing there because I'm trying to get my head around what I'm going to need to do. But do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. I think this could be a special one today. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So what we've got to do is to treat the given digits very carefully. So however we... Okay, and our highest given digit here is 6. But of course this is a 9 by 9 sudoku. So 7s, 8s... Oh no, hang on, I'm already confusing myself. I was thinking that means 7s, 8s and 9s have to appear after the 6s. But that's not true at all, is it? No, I've got to focus only on the givens and making sure that they ascend as we go along the snake. So the snake... Right, okay, so the snake is going to go from the 1 to the 3 somehow. It's got to stay on the 3s then it's got to go to the 5, then it's got to go to a 6, then it's got to go to a 6. So what it can't do, let's have a colour for snake, shall we? Should we have purple for snake today? Oh no, actually maybe I'll use blue, because people like, I think, blue and orange from a colourblind perspective. So I'll do that. So, but you can see that this is definitely on the snake. It's a given digit, this 3. And if the snake did that, took this cell, then the 3 and the 6 would be in order along the snake, and the 5 would be out of order, and we must increase as we go along the snake. So it's not possible for that to be blue, so that needs to be orange. And the same is, well, it's a similar point here. This is not a snake now, because the snake has touched itself orthogonally along this edge. Because when we get from the 5 to the 6, we're going to have to do some, I don't know, let's say we did that. But you can see the snake is touching itself, so we can't have a sort of branching effect in the snake. So that cell there, I think, is also orange. Now, so now we can say, okay, I was about to say that this... Oh no, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't have to be. Right. I was about to say this has to be a corner of the snake now, because we have to get from this 6 to this 6. However, is that true? What if this was the end of the snake? And I did that. Did something like that. Ah. Okay, so that's complete nonsense then. Right, so I can't. I was hoping to view this as a corner and to do that and put blues into both of those, but I can't do that. Right, so what do we do now? Oh, well, this is a corner. Right, let's focus on the easy win. That must be a corner because that can't be the end of the snake. So those two squares have got to be blue. Which means this square cannot be blue, or the snake would be orthogonally touching itself. So that's got to be orange. Now one thing we've got to make sure about as well is that the orange regions that we build, they all have to have the same total. This is absolutely bananas. So well, I was about to say, surely, said I. Surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more. Open here I flung a shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. I was going to say that cell can't be, sorry, I'm gibbering, that cell can't be blue, because that would mean that there was an orange region in the puzzle. If we make that blue, this orange cell, whatever it let's say it added up to 9, which is the most it could add up to, that means that every time we make an orange region in the puzzle, it cannot add up to more than 9, so it could not be a 4-cell orange region, because a 4-cell orange region, if it can't repeat a digit, would add up to 10, at least 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. But actually, how on earth do we prove that that's not a 1-cell region? That's quite difficult to do, I think, because I have to prove this isn't a 1-cell region. I've got to prove that every time I build an orange region in the puzzle, it must be 3 cells at most in size. But like, I could do something like that. Ooh, although it does get quite awkward, doesn't it? Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to work. Ew, yeah, it's actually, well, it's going to be hard to prove it, but I doubt that it's possible. So if you take this cell, well, okay, let's just think about that maybe. If you take this cell, where does the snake go next? Because if it goes there to connect to the 5, none of these cells, oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, okay, none of these cells can now be snake, because the snake would orthogonally touch itself. And this couldn't be, and that couldn't be snake in the corner. So you get a mighty orange region, and that won't work, because obviously there's no way, given that this orange region is orthogonally connected, that's got to add up to at least 21, and that cell cannot be a 21. So that doesn't work. So we couldn't take this cell, we'd have to have that as orange. Yes, okay, but then how do I connect the 3 to the 5? I must connect the 3 to the 5. So I've got to do that, and that doesn't work. I'm just checking when I'm saying that I can't connect this 3 to the 5, this side of the 3 to the 5. I can't, because I can't get this out. Yeah, so the only way of connecting these is to go round this corner, and that doesn't work because these 2 digits would be the same number. And that's not going to be, because they're both 2 orange regions. So this is not right. Okay, well this is good. This is good. So we've now learnt that the orange, well, have we? Well, we've learnt this orange cell is not a single cell, but we haven't necessarily ruled out, that being a 9, for example, and being well, that's a silly example. But there might be possible. We haven't yet proved that orange is greater than 9 as its sum. But we have proved we need to connect this 3 to this 5, don't we? So surely we have to come down this column. Because if we didn't, how would we... No, what you can't do is that. Because then, remember, what we've got to do is to get in and out of box 7 without touching, without allowing our snake to touch itself. And that's not going to work. 'Cause as we turn here, how are we going to get out again? We're going to have to take this cell and be very naughty and touch ourselves. So we won't do that. So that means that we can come down here like this. So, and now, does that mean we... no, we don't. I don't know that it does tell us what we do next. So we could just close the snake, and then we'd have some oranges. Oh no, we'd have at least 2 oranges along the bottom, because we don't have to... We could do that. Oh, we could... No, we could do that if that's the end of the snake. Oh, for goodness sake. This is really difficult. It's really difficult to prove exactly what happens here. I'd love to know if this is a corner of the snake. That cell's got to be orange now. So we've built a little bit of snake, but the other thing is that this could just drop down there, and that would be orange. So if this is a corner, you have to do that. No, that still doesn't tell us how the snake connects. I'd love to know how these two connect as well. The snake has to get into each box, doesn't it? That's another thing we're going to have to keep track of. Because it's got to go... If it didn't go into a box, the whole box would be orange. And that would be a 45 total. And then, that's not going to work down here. Because there's no way... This is either a 2-cell total or a 3-cell total. Sorry, my phone is just going at me. That's fine. That's nothing to do with anything important. Yeah, this sequence here cannot be greater than 3 cells. It could take this one, but because we need to connect this and this, actually it would be really very important. If this is only a 2-cell sequence, the maximum 2 cells could add up to in a sudoku is an 8 and a 9, 17, and therefore the maximum size of an orange sort of area in the puzzle would only be 5 cells. 6 cells would add up to at least 21. So if we could prove that this was a domino, we would know that all orange regions in this puzzle have to be a maximum of 5 cells large, which feels like it might be interesting. Although, I have to say, it might be quite easy to do that. I don't know. I'm sort of just doodling in the grid here, trying to work out how this works. You can, oh, no, that's not how it works. That's going to create a mighty orange. But I could just correct that like that. Look, there we go. Although that's still a 6-cell orange region. You could probably get this done quite quickly by sort of trying to iterate, the snake. But I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to try and do it purely logically. Having said that, how do I do it logically? So, to get from the 1 to the 3 here, I've got... Do I have to go via this box? I think I do. Because if I don't, something's got to get into this box. And if it's not the connecting snake between the 1 and the 3, it's going to have to be the 6 that gets in there. And I have difficulty believing well, yeah, I mean, well, to put it a different way, if the 6 goes in there and the 1 doesn't go in there, the 1's got to connect to the 3 by going underneath, and that doesn't look possible. So the 1 has to come into this box. And then it's going to get the 3. But then before we connect this 3 and this 3 together, something's got to visit this box, doesn't it? Unless the 1 visits that. Oh gosh, yeah, it might be that. Although that looks a bit like I'm creating a massive orange region. If I did that, something like that, I've got some mighty great orange regions that I'm building. So I doubt it does that. I suspect it goes from here, does some wiggling in here, then goes here, then this probably goes in here. Although I don't quite know how it does that. I don't quite like what I've done there because I think it's making too big an orange region. It's still making too big an orange. Maybe something like that. And then the 3 goes into the 5 somehow. Yeah, but this is still... I would love to know. I almost want to assume that, but I realise that's a bit premature. Well, okay. I can assume that. That's fair. Because how could that not be in? If that's not in and that's orange, so this is the end of the snake, then you can see this 6 is stranded. Because as to get this out, I'm going to have to go there. That connects the 5 and the 6, which means that this 6 needs to somehow be on the snake, and it can't be because this is the end of the snake. And once this comes in here, it's creating a branch. So that's nonsense. So that cell's definitely blue. The problem cell is this one. Is this one orange or blue? I bet you it's blue. Right, let's just have a think about that. If that's orange, then this has to come along the bottom of the grid and can't touch this. So it's got to come this way. It's got to... Well, it's got to pick this up before it picks this up. So it can't... Oh, hang on. And what's going on in box 9? I suppose this could... Oh, the other thing I can't create is one cell... Oh no, I can create one cell regions. Oh, goodness me. This is tricky. This is really difficult. So, if I do this, and then something like that, and that... What's wrong with that? Let's just put that in and have a think about it. This would be a one cell region, which I don't think I can rule out. Oh no. No, that doesn't work, I think, for what's happened at the top here. Because now all of those can't be touched by snake. All of these can't be touched by snake. Oh, but that could be the end of the snake. Oh, goodness. No, this is really difficult. Because even this sort of setup, I'm still managing, I think, to have non-illegal one-cell regions. Because this cell, obviously this cell now cannot be orange because we've got a one-cell orange region here. So that would be blue, but it can be blue. We could do this and that. Okay, I mean that I can see that does break, but it breaks for a ludicrous reason, which is we just have to continue on our merry way here because we can't have this being any bigger than 3 cells, so we'd have to take those, and now there's no way of getting the snake into box 3 and out again because it's going to get stranded because it can't turn. So yeah, okay, so this is crazy though. This is absolutely crazy. So wow. Yeah, but I can, that's the sort of thing where I can see that by sort of bifurcation, if you like, you could quickly shuffle through some options and probably rule a lot out here. But is that how I'm going to have to do it? That's the question. And the answer to that is I don't know. How does this connect to this? That's an interesting question, given I feel like we have to come into this box. So, how do we do that? Well, the simple way of doing that would be something like that. Although that is creating a very big orange region again. And if we come in here, then we've got to... Then I'm creating quite a big orange region here, I think. That's interesting. If you go in that cell, what's your next cell after that? It's actually, I don't think it's this one. Because if it's this one, how do you ever get the snake to visit box 3 now? I believe you can't do it, because the next cell on the snake is this one or this one. Let's say it's this one, to be as efficient as we can be. How do we get this snake into box 3 now? And because we can't take this cell, we have to go up and in, and then we can't turn. So actually, if we come into box 5, we have to take that cell, which is getting too close to the 6, so then we have to take that cell. And now I've got to get in and out of box 1, but I have to do it in a way that this can still connect. So surely I've got to do... Well, something like that maybe might work. I almost wonder whether that's right, you know. And the reason I say that is it's really quite, you know, it looks very persuasive. I get a 6-cell orange region here, but that would fix what's going on with this orange region down here. Well, it wouldn't fix it, but it would fix it actually, because a 6-cell orange region would add up to at least 21. Therefore, it couldn't accommodate a 2-cell orange region. So this would have to grow, and that would fix what the blue thing does. Oh, hang on, how do I know? Have I left that in? I've left that in, haven't I? That's nonsense. This is what we were looking at before, when I was trying to prove that this was the end of the snake, and I couldn't do it. But I've got a 2-cell orange region here. Right, I'm now going to claim, perhaps erroneously, but we shall see, that this doesn't work. Yeah, so the challenge, right, if we do this, the challenge is going to be, we now know there's a 2-cell orange region, therefore I just cannot have a 6-cell orange region. And I must have one. I must have one. Because look, this is forced, none of these cells can be orange. Now how could I ever make these cells blue? If I could make one of them blue, I've got to turn in that region. That's impossible. And we know that the head and the tail of the snake are not... Oh, actually, that's a good question. Oh, hang on. There is one possibility I have not thought about, and that is this. One of these is the head or the tail of the snake. So how about the snake does... No, it doesn't work. This is complicated though. This is really complicated. So what I was suddenly wondering is, could the snake come all the way over the top here, and then this turn and hit this. Now you can see it doesn't work, because to turn, it's like a very unnimble thing. It needs a U pentomino to turn, and any U pentomino is going to take it up this column, and it's going to hit the 6 before it hits the 3. So that's not right. So those two have to be orange, and that creates a 6 cell versus a 2 cell region, and that's wrong. So this is incorrect. So let's make sure we get rid of that again. So that, I think, this cell is impossible, because once you take this cell, you can't take this cell or that cell. So that is orange, which means that is blue, which means that okay, I was about to say, do we know that this is, I was going to make it orange, but I think it can clearly be blue. Okay, so, well, let's do that again. That cell can't be blue, can it? Because if that's blue, surely I've got the same problem I had before with box 3. I reckon that's going to be true. Yeah, it's the same problem. If I make this one blue, I can't take that cell, because this can never turn into box 3. If I take that cell, then to get into box 3, it's got to do that, and it can't turn and get out. Yeah, so that's fair enough. That cell is also orange. So we're starting to get towards a sort of interesting number of oranges. Yeah. I've made one deduction. 31 minutes in, I've made a deduction. Both of those cells cannot be blue, because then we'd have a branching snake. And if that's true, because at least one of these is orange, I now know the minimum size of the orange in box 5 is 4 cells, which means that I cannot have a 1 cell orange region anywhere, because the minimum size, because this is at least 4 cells that have to be different digits, it must add up to at least 10. Okay. So that feels like a breakthrough, doesn't it? Probably. Wow, okay. But it's now far from clear to me what this does next. I mean, I think it's got a lot of optionality. Although, okay, I mean, some of these options I'm building, I think, unrealistically large orange regions, but yeah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work, because I've always got to bear in mind the maximum size of this orange region is 3 cells. So the maximum size of any orange region I build in the puzzle is 6 cells. So we've got to be a little bit careful about that. Now, okay, well, the next cell that looks weak to me is that one. If that's blue, can I still make... I can't just join that up. That's not going to work, because now all of this becomes orange. Oh, although, does it? Does it, though? Yes, yeah, it does. It still does. I still can never turn. If I made this all snake, I still can't turn from this to get back to here. So yeah, okay, so all of this would be orange, and that would break. So that cell would have to be orange, and now that would have to be blue. This would have to be blue. And let's just explore this option for a moment. We know this can't be a 1 cell region. That's got to be orange now. We don't know what this is. Do we? We know one of these at least must be orange, because we can't have a 1 cell orange region. Can I make that, for example? What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that at first blush. Then I've got to get in and out of box 3. That also looks very doable, doesn't it? I could do something like that. I'm getting to quite a large orange count down column 8 here. No, well, in fact, that specific pattern breaks because I think I have too big an orange. If I just put that in for a moment, this is all orange now, and this is all orange, and that doesn't look good. That's too big, too much of an orange region. So there's some sort of restriction. Well, there's some sort of restriction, I think, going on around how this and this connect. But, yeah, so it felt like we were getting to too big an orange region here, didn't it? So maybe we've got to try and stop this region becoming too large. How do we do that? That's actually tricky, because what I can't do, well, I can connect the 3 and the 6 at a point, but obviously not at not orthogonally. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want to, maybe I'll test this. If that's blue, this, right, we know this side must connect to the 1 because otherwise this side can't connect here. So I think that means that cell's forced. But now both of, you see, now we're starting to get to we're already getting to a very big orange count. Those now both have to be orange. That's got to be orange, therefore that's got to be blue. I've got to go into box 3 here. I have to. I can't just connect this up because then nothing ever gets into box 3. So do I have to take that cell? Yes, otherwise I can't turn. So that's got to be blue. Now this is now orange. I'm already up to so I've already maxed out my oranginess. That's right, I've maxed out my oranginess now, because remember we said we can't build more than a 6-cell orange region. So this must now be blue. This is a bit of a bifurcation, but forgive me, I'm just trying to understand what's going on in terms of how that's got to be blue. That's got to be orange. We can't have a 1-cell orange. That's got to be orange. Ooh, no, that's broken. Okay, it's broken now here because I need this to not be blue. Because if that's blue, the next cell on the snake is connecting to the 1. And that's creating either the opportunity for us to touch ourselves that way or touch ourselves this way. So that now has to be orange, and that's created an enormous orange region that's 8 cells large. Right, okay. So this is not right. There's definitely a problem here around the size of this orange region. So this can't come down. So that's got to be not orange. Nah. So, well, actually that is another deduction, another tiny deduction. We're making these deductions very slowly. But now, because one of these has to be orange at least, we've now up to a 5-cell orange region in here. So this can't be that much bigger. It really can't. So I'm now starting to believe that this 6, well, I'm starting to believe this is not the end of the snake, because I think that this has to sort of edge up this way to stop this getting too big, because I have difficulty believing the 3 can duck down in here. It can't. The 3 can never do this, because to turn we're going to have a problem in box 3 again. But something has to stop this from being an 8-cell orange region. So I feel like I want to do something like that, with this then going over the top. Although that's creating a mighty great orange region as well, but this in a different place. This is tricky. It's tricky to do this purely logically, if you like. Or at least it's tricky for me. Okay. So how do we make more progress with some sort of aplomb? See, now if that one's orange, then I've maxed out. Yeah, okay, let's think about that. If that's orange, now because it's not possible for both of these to be blue, one of these is orange at least, and we know orange is not greater than 6 cells, so that maxes out the orange. So both of those would have to be blue. This is now a corner, so those would have to be blue. And this can't connect directly, that's going to be a problem, so that's got to be orange. We've got to do this. We know that's a 2-cell orange at least, so we have to do that. Now, does this break for some reason? I know I've got 6 cells of... I've got 6 cells of orange here, so I can't have 2-cell regions. So that's got to grow again. And then to connect this, I get 2-cell orange, and that's broken. Wow. Okay, so I think this is the way we have to approach the puzzle. We're sort of learning about the relative sizes of oranges. We've learned through our work that orange cannot be greater than 6 cells. And the moment we start getting into 6-cell orange regions, we know the other orange regions in the puzzle cannot be confined to 2 cells. And using those two things, we're starting to learn how the puzzle must work. So now this cell, I believe, cannot be orange and has to be blue. And now this cell cannot be blue, because if that's blue, because we can't turn here, all of this is orange, because we can't turn, and that's too big. So that cell now is orange, which means that's a corner, so this is blue, which means that's orange. We know this is growing, we know this is now blue. Now, do I know? No, I don't. Oh, this is so close to cracking. Because if I now knew that this orange region here, even if it's 5 cells, was adding up to more than 17, then we would be golden, because we could extend this orange region, and that would force everything in the top left. So all I've got to do now is convince myself, all I've got to do is either convince myself that this is a 6-cell orange region, or that if it's a 5-cell orange region, it can't only add up to 17. But it looks like these 3s aren't ruling 3s out from this potential orange region. That could be a 3, for example. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 would be 18, so it would be very important if I could rule out 3. Oh, 6 by sudoku is up there. I haven't even thought about doing any sudoku. Right, that's got to continue, hasn't it? So maybe we can continue to think about this sort of thing. Yeah, okay. So how is that now blue? I have difficulty believing that this is blue. Because if this is blue, it's the continuation of the 3 path, which we know has to somehow get into box 3. How does it ever do that now? It can't. Because if it gets in there, it can't get out. So that's never blue, which means that we've done it. We've done it. This is orange. Now I've got 5 oranges here. I know one of these is orange, so that's 6 oranges. And that's the maximum size of orange we can have. But this does everything. It does everything. Because now I know it's not possible to have a 2-cell orange region, because a 2-cell orange region can only add up to 17, and we know we've got a 6-cell orange region here, which is going to add up to at least 21. Forces this, forces this, forces this. Oh, here we go. It's not impossible that this will now, we can't have a 1-cell orange region. It's not impossible this will flow, because that can't have a 2-cell orange region. So that forces that up there. Can't have a 1-cell orange region. In fact, we know we need at least a 3-cell orange region. So we've now got to come across the top here, extend this, and connect. That's done. Look at this. So suddenly I've done 4 columns of the snake. That cannot be snake because it would be orthogonally touching itself. Naughty snake. Right. Here's some more points. One of these is orange. So this can't be orange, and this can't be orange, because that would extend orange to 7 cells, and 7 cells, the triangular number for 7, is 28, and that's bigger than a 3-cell region could be. So that means those 2 cells have to be blue. Now that cannot be blue, can it? If this is blue, we've got the same problem again. I've got too much orange up here that cannot be interfered. Oh, no, it cannot be interfered with, because even if the head of the snake was here again, we get into the problem of turning. Yeah. So this is now orange. That's forced to be blue. That cannot be a 2-cell region. So that's got to be blue. We don't know. Well, this could then now do this. Look, probably does do this because this needs to grow. Yes. Here we go. So, actually, maybe not. Okay, maybe I don't quite know. I don't quite know how this works at the top. I can see 2 possibilities. Either it closes immediately and it does that, or it allows this orange to drip out a bit more. But if it drips out to here even, then because the blue can't turn in the corner, it has to do that, and we get a 6-cell orange up there, which would need to be adding up to no more than 24. Okay, I can't see how to do that. Sorry if it's obvious to everybody. I'm getting quite excited though, because I think that we're on the right track. What about this cell? Is this part of this snake? I just don't believe it. Because how does it do that? It doesn't. This must join the 6, because this is just trapped. You can't get out once you go to this cell, yet we need to get up here. And we can't turn without touching this, which would be illegal. So this snake must continue to there, which means this must now be orange, which means this must be blue, because we can't have a 7-cell orange, which means all of this turns orange, because it's all of this turns orange, because we've got orthogonal connections. This is forcing the blue up this column, which must go all the way to here at least. We can't. Yeah, the snake would touch itself. This is the end of the snake, because if this snake comes here, the snake's touching itself. So that's orange, and that cell is the end of the snake. And we've got a 4-cell here. So now this is not the head of the snake, because we've got to get into here. Okay, I can't quite see it. I feel like this cell is the interesting one now. Because Okay. Well, if that's orange, let's think about that. If that's orange, then it's maxed out in size. So this is blue, these are blue, this is blue. This can't be one cell, so it's got to grow. I can't see what's wrong with that. Sorry, there's probably a way of telling what's wrong with that, but I can't see what it is. Wow, okay, so what do we do now? Maybe we've got to do sudoku. Right. What does that add up to? And the answer is, I've not got a, well, I've got a clue within 3, but it doesn't add up to 21 because there's a 6 in the box that's not in this region. So it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, which is 22, which means there's a 9 in all of these 3 cell regions because 22 in 3 cells requires a 9. Right, this is massive. This is absolutely beautiful. Right, okay. So now I'm going to have a look, I think, at these columns. Yeah, this is forced. This is forced. I think it's 22, the number, because let's start off by thinking a bit about 9s. I know there's a 9 in both of these triples and this triple as well. Now that 9 can't be here. Hopefully you can see why. If I do put 9 there, I've got to put a 9 here and a 9 here in these triples. And there's going to be 2 9s in column 3. So that can't be 9 anymore. There's a 9 in one of these 2 cells. But let's think about the nature of 23 and 24 as possible totals for this set of digits. Now the thing about 23 and 24 is there's only one combination that makes them work. So if this was 23, this would be 689 and this would be 689. But now this needs to be 689 and this cell here has no possible value because it sees 6 and 8, it sees a 689 triple in its column, so it can't be 689. Now the same logic applies absolutely identically if these cells add up to 24. Then these are 789, these are 789, this needs to be 789, and this cell can't be any of those digits because it sees the triple in the column. So the number is 22, which means that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 sextuplet, and that's an 8, 9 pair. And right, and this is 22 without a 5 in it, so that I've got a digit. So this is a 6 because this is 6, 7 and 9. That's the only other way of getting to 22. There's a 6 here. So this is 6, this is a 7, 9 pair. Okay, but that, no, I want to say this now has to be 5, 8, 9. But maybe that's wrong. I'm just thinking if that's 6, 7, 9. Obviously these cells now have to be a 6, 7, 9 triple, which means that this combination has to be a 6, 7, 9 because it's a 22 and it's got a 6 or a 7 in it now, and that cell's not going to work. So this doesn't work. I think this has to be 5, 8, 9. And now I've not got a triple in this column, so I don't know what that is, which is annoying. Although I do know that's a 5 using the power of sudoku. So now I've got an 8, 9 pair here. So that's a 7, that's a 9. So this is now a 7 or an 8. And okay, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck, but I definitely think we're doing a heck of a lot better than we were. So this is either 6, right, this is either 6, 9 or 5, 9. What a puzzle as well. I mean, imagine trying to set this. 6 given digits and this rule set, and it's going to be unique. It's amazing. It really is. Wow. So now if this closes, that's got to be a 6, 7, 9 triple, which I think it could be. The man who said that was by the way, I shouldn't really tell you this, but that was before cracking the cryptic. That was my great idea for how to make millions from the internet. The man who said, I was going to create a Twitter account called The Man Who Said and all it would be each day is a man opening a newspaper. You'd never see the man, you just see the newspaper opening to a story, and then you just hear the man saying in a variety of different ways. So sometimes you might look at the article and go or and it would be that every day, and I just thought that would be so entertaining and people would like it. But yes, that's probably because I'm quite strange. Now I'm saying to myself. Stop it. Okay, come on. How are we going to do this? What is the next obvious deduction, if indeed such a thing could exist in a puzzle of this nature? Can we... I need to know what this is, don't I? So if this is blue, and then we've got to do that. So this now becomes a 5-cell region and can't be a 7-cell region. So this is now blue. This becomes a 5-cell region, adding up to 22, but without anything interesting looking at it. This becomes 6, 7, 9. So that plonks a 9 down here. I can't see why that's broken. Right, let's try it the other way then. So let's try it instead with this connecting directly. So now all of that turns orange. Oh, that doesn't work. Right, okay, sorry, this was easy and I've missed it. Right, that's not blue. And the reason that's not blue is that if this is orange, look at this. That's a 6-cell region that has to add up to 22, but it's got a 6 in it, so it can't be 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, which is the only way of making 6 cells add up to 22. So this is nonsense, and therefore that cell has got to be orange, which means that the blue connects across the top. This is 6, 7, 9. That's definitely still not 6. So there is definitely a 9 down here. Still can't quite see how to take that forward much further than that. Right, but let's now revisit the logic here. We know this cannot be a 7-cell orange region, so that's got to be blue. We know that we've got to get some blues into this box, so that's got to be blue. Therefore, this has got to be orange to prevent us from touching ourselves, and it can't be a 1-cell. In fact, it must be at least a 3-cell. We know that. So these two are both orange now. This can't be a 1-cell. It's so clever. Now this can't be. This can't be orange because that would make a 7-cell orange region. So that's got to be blue. That's going to be difficult, isn't it? So that's got to be blue. We know this is at least 3 cells, so that's got to be orange. This is wonderful. It's quite ridiculous how clever this is. Oh yeah, well that can't be blue. That's going to create an enormous orange region. So that's orange, and now to connect the blues, we've done it. We've built the snake. So this is the head of the snake after all that. And the snake meanders round there. Okay, but now I've got a 3-cell orange region down here, which must have a 9 in it, which must go there. And this must be 5, 8, because it can't be 6, 7. So that's 5, 8, this is 8, this is 9, that's 9 at the top, that's a 6, 7 pair. So now in this column, look, I've got 6 digits. I need 1s, 2s and 4s. And the expression we're looking for is Bobby. Ah, no, we've got an 8 here. So that's a 7. And this is now a 6-9 pair. And somehow that's not resolved is probably the word I'm looking for. The man who said, I mean, that, contact me if you think that's a good idea. You know, oh, get your brain in the game, Simon. Come on, what do we do next? We shall say that, oh, I've got another opportunity to put a 9 down here. So, 9, 6, 7, this is 5, 8. Which looks like it's nearly important. Don't think I can resolve that. I've got a 5, 8 pair in the bottom row. I've got how many 9s in the grid? Quite a few. But not enough. Okay. I can put a 6 into one of these cells. Ah, there's no 9 in this one. Does it have to have an 8 in it then? Let me think about that. So this is adding up to 22 without a 9. So if it didn't have 8 in it, it would be 7, 6, 5, 4. That would be the only way of it working. 7, 6, 5, 4. But it can't have a 6 in it. So it's not 7, 6, 5, 4, so it does have an 8 in it. Now where does that 8 go? Not there, not here. That's an 8. Beautiful. Okay, now I suspect we can do some more maths on this. Let me just see if I can do something with the 8. I can. That's an 8 by sudoku. Double click 8s. No. There's an 8 up there by sudoku. We can... We've ticked over the hour as well. It's not an easy puzzle. Please don't be watching this video going, oh, that was so easy. Why is he so slow? Gosh, there's a bird out there going nuts. It's distracting me, as is my... Oh, that's a 5. So that's a 5 and that's an 8. Ah, hang on. I've got some more 8s in the grid. I've got another 8 in the grid. So now I can pencil mark some... Oh, I nearly get an 8 in this region here, which would be powerful because that's a 5 cell. If that's got an 8 in it, the other digits would have to add up to 14. Ah, they wouldn't have to have a 1 in because 2, 3, 4, 5 add up to 14. I've got these cells have got to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. 2, 4, 5? Yes, 5, 5. That's a 5 by sudoku. These have got... so there's a 1 in one of those 2 cells. These cells are 1, 2 and 4, like these cells. This row... this row needs 2, 4 and 7. Which somehow is not resolved. I feel like I think my 7s have underwhelmed. They've underperformed. Can we do more with 7s somehow? Don't know. Right, let's have a think about these 3 cells. We know these 3 cells add up to 14. We know they don't involve 9, they don't involve 8, and they don't involve 6. So do they have to involve 7? If they didn't involve 7, the maximum size they could be would be 5, 4, 3, which is 12. So they do involve 7, and the 7 goes here. So 7 is placed, 7 is placed. So these two now add up to 15, which means these add up to 7, but they're not 1, 6 or 2, 5, so they're a 3, 4 pair, which means that's not a 4, which means this is a 1 or a 2. That's not a 4, because the 4 in this column is in one of those two cells. So this is... no, that's still no good. Okay. So what do we do now? We shall argue about... I don't know. 7. Oh, so yeah, okay. 7 is slightly restricted in box 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple left unplaced in box. And we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, haven't we? We've got loads of cells that seem to have to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Where does 6 go in this box? Can we place that? No, we don't know yet. Where does... I don't know. Sorry, I don't quite know what to do now. I'm stuck. How do we make more progress? We shall... It might be that we've got to investigate this a little bit further. Although I have to say, to do that properly, I think we need to know slightly more about it. We could argue about this column. We need 1, 2, 4, and 6. So that cell is... Oh, yes, okay. So 6 go... Ah, there we go. It's sudoku. Therefore, that's 6. That's 7. Does that do some magic? Ah, no. I thought I was going to get a 6 in this orange region, but I don't, because I think this could be a 6. Oh, I was sure that was going to do something. 2, 3, and 4 again. What about 7 then in this region? Still got two possibilities, I think. So all these digits. It's almost like I need a separate colour for 1, 2, 3, and 4 because it's just appearing everywhere. I might have to do that in a moment or two, just to try and get a handle on what's going on. Okay. What else could we do here? I don't know. I don't know. Oh no. Am I going to get stuck at... Please don't get stuck now. That would be so upsetting. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm looking at this column. 2, 3, 4, 6. So that's a 2, 3, or a 4 in the corner. Okay, it must be this, mustn't it? There must be something we can learn about this orange shape. But what is that thing? It's got to have... I don't know what it's got to have, because this at the moment seems to be possibly an 8. If that's an 8, what's that doing to the rest of the grid? Or if one of these is an 8, does that mean that has to be a 6? Because otherwise I'd have 14. I'd have 14 in 2 cells, and I need the other 3 cells to add up to 8. No, that's fine, actually. That's absolutely fine. So I can put 6 in here, if I do put 8 in here. So we've got to find something else to think about. What on earth is that going to be? It's got to be... I'd like to be under the sea, in an octopus's garden, in the shade. Golly, I don't know. 3 has to be in one of those cells. Do I know one of... No, I don't know one of these is a 3. Otherwise that would have got me a 3 here and a 4 here, which would have been something. 5 in this column, is that... Where are the 5s? Let's click the 5s. We shall... 5 is... No, I don't think it's restricted enough. Might be wrong. Doesn't feel like we know as much about 5s as we do about some of the other digits. Let's try 6s again. Got this 6-9 pair, don't really know. 7s? No. 8s? I've done very well with 8s in the bottom of the grid, but they don't seem to be restricted in the top half of the grid enough. 9s? No, 9s have really let themselves down. 9. So I've got 5 9s in the grid. There's a 6th there, there's a 7th there. So there are 2 more 9s to place. But in this box, the 9 seems to have 4 possibilities. And in this box, there's almost a 9 in orange in this box. Almost, but not quite. If this is a 9, that would be a 9 as well. And this would be an 8. No, that's fine. I was just... 9, here's a small point actually. If we look at the panoply of places that a 9 can go in box 3, so it's one of these 4. Now we can't, I don't think, put it here, because if we did, it would be in one of these 2. It would repeat in the orange region, and then we'd have 2 9s in orange, which we can't do. So that's not a 9. So now 9's down to 3 positions. 9, I've nearly, actually that would be huge, because I've nearly locked it into orange. If I could lock it into orange, then surely I can't put 8 in, or maybe I can. No, I can't. If I could get 9 into orange, then I can't also have 8 in orange, so I get the 8 as well. So why can't that be a 9? That's the question that we need to ask. And the answer to that is... I don't think there's any reason it can't be a 9. Got it. I've got it. I have got it, but I've had to go round the houses to get it. Right. If this is a 9, then where is the 9 in this box? And the answer is in orange. Yes, okay, so I see. The way to think about this is not the way. The way to think about this is to concentrate on column 8, isn't it? Look at column 8 and ask where 9 goes. And because it can't go in these cells, or these, because of this 9, and that's ruling out there, 9 is in one of those cells. So 9 is in orange, and if 9 is in orange, I've just worked out 8 isn't in orange. Oh, goodness. Right, so that's 8, which means that's not 8. So now if 9 is in orange, 9 means the other 4 digits in orange add up to 13. So they have got a 1 in them. You can't make 13 in 4 cells without using 1. So there is a 1 in one of those cells. Okay. This is getting good now. I'm starting to understand how to think about this column. 5, where's that in this column? And the answer is in orange. So now I've learned that there's a 9, there's a 5, and the other 3 digits have got to therefore add up to 8 without using 5 again. So it's 9, 5, 1, 3, 4. There we go. So there's no 6 in it. Aha, got ya. So the 6 goes here. This is, now let's actually, I think what we're going to do is put the options in. 1, 3, 4, 5, 9, and then we can get rid of some things. We know that the 5 and the 9 are in this column. We know there's no 1 in there. So this is not 5 or 9. Actually, it's not 3 either. Those are not 3. What else can we get rid of here? We can get rid of... Hang on. 1, 3. Somewhat weirdly, I don't seem to be able to get rid of anything from this cell. 1, 3, 4, 5. Is that really true? I don't know. It might be, you know. I get this down to being 1 or 4. I don't know. Okay, so 6 now, I can see in this box here has got to be in this domino, which means this is no longer a 6. This is a 6. There's definitely a 3 in this string of digits. So the 3 down here has to be in one of those two cells. Does that somehow matter? Probably. Oh, I tell you something, where does 7 go in this column now? And this 7 seems to rule it out of those cells, and it's not a possibility for the 5-cell string. So 7, I think, has to go there, which means that's a 2 and that's a 4. So we can do some tidying up of pencil marks here that looks quite profitable. I got a 1, 4 pair here, so I got a 2 there. That's now a 1. That places 1 in my orange region, look, because it can't be up there. So this is now 1. This is now 3, 4, 5, 9. And in this column, we've not put a 2 in. So that's got to be the 2. So now what do we do? So now these two squares are a 3, 4 pair by sudoku. I've got a 3, 4, 5, 9 triple here. I've got a 1, 4 pair in box. So these squares now have got to be 3, 5 and 7. And I can place the 7, look, in that little triple. That's got to go here. So these squares have become 3 and 5. Which we don't seem to know enough. We don't seem to know anything about 3s and 5s really, or certainly not enough. But I think we're getting somewhere. It's taking me a long time, admittedly. It's going to be about an hour and a half solve. Hang on. What about 4 in this column? Everything else seems to be done. So that's a 4. That's a 3. That's a 4, that's a 3. This is a 1, 4 pair, so that means 3 in this row has to go here. So this is now a 1, 2 pair. And this is a this is going now. 3 and 5. So that's not a 3, that's not a 5. This is 1, 2 and 4 to complete column 6, and this cell can't be 1. How do we keep this going now? What about these squares? 1, 2 and 3? This is not 1. Or 3. That's 2. Okay, so that's 2, that's 1, that's 3. That's not 3 in the corner. That's a 4 now. So that's a 4, that's a 1, and that's a 2. This is getting exciting now. I think we're closing in on a finish. They've got to be 1, 5, and 8. And that's not 8, look. And that's not 1. But other than that, we don't seem to know enough about the world. We now know what these 3 digits are. They are a 1, 4, 7, a snooker maximum. And that can't be 1 or 4, so that's the 7. Hang on, what's going on in this row? That can't be 4. 5, 8, 9, triple. Bobbins. Okay. So now we'll look at this digit. That has to be 1, 2, 4 or 5, and it's not 1 or 4, so it's 2 or 5. Which of course is fine. I don't believe it. Okay. Okay, so now I'm getting the feeling that I'm missing something obvious. Where is the obvious thing that we can just use to finish this puzzle off? I don't know. Okay, let's keep going then. Shall we look at... that's not 5 I've just seen because of this 5. So this is 1 or 8. I know that... I still don't know about 9, do I? I've still got this funny rogue pencil mark 9 here. Yeah, okay, that is probably a valid pencil mark. That was from me trying to working out there was a 9 in this region. And I worked out that could be a 9 if there was a 9 down here. So I don't think I can assume this cell is not a 9. I think it still could be. So 2, 3, 4 and 7 into this column. So let's fully pencil mark. Oh, okay, where does 7 go in this column? That is a good question. Can't go in those squares, so it has to go here. Which of course does absolutely diddly squat. So these are 2, 3 and 4. That means there's definitely a 3, look, in one of these two cells. That means there is no 3 here. So that's a 4, 5, 9 triple, and that is a 3, which also does nothing somehow. But where does the 4 go in this triple? It is down there, so those are not 4. Not 4, which means there's a 4 in the corner, which means that's a 1, that's a 4, that's a 5, that's a 2. Okay, so that's 8, that's 1, that's 8, that's 9. Therefore, this is 5. We've got a 4, 9 pair here, and we know this was 9. And these two squares have got to be 5 and 6, and we know the order, look, 5 and 6, 6 and 9. 9 and 4, 4 and 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3. Good grief. And that just might be, yes, the correct solution. My goodness me, what a puzzle. That is breathtakingly clever of Filuta. No idea how you come up with this sort of stuff. Maybe a set of video Filuta is in order so that you can explain how you came up with this completely crazy puzzle. My goodness. So the fact is, let's just revisit what we've learned. You can create a unique Sudoku puzzle just by saying there's a snake between these 6 cells where everything that's not on the snake contains the same total and no repeated digits. It's just brilliant. It's just a brilliant idea. It's not easy though, my goodness me. I can totally understand why our testers had trouble with it. Mark, in fact, didn't say that it was quite as brutal as this. He didn't really say anything. He just said that I should definitely have a go at it. So I wonder, it might play more to Mark's strengths. Mark is very naturally bent towards sort of iterative approaches. You know, you'd be very comfortable sort of going, could that square be whatever it turned out not to be, doing a jiggle round the grid and going, no, that jiggle is imperfect and wrong. And repeated jiggling is Mark's métier. Whereas for me, I'm a bit less comfortable with that. I find it harder to sort of send myself off on long trails where I can't really visualize the answer. It's always been a problem for me in terms of speed solving. I'm just too slow to go down that route. But I did enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed watching too. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I'd be fascinated to know today. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.